Welcome back, my friend. It's good to have you here, in this quiet moment before sleep. Tonight, as you rest your head on the pillow, imagine yourself floating on a vast, calm ocean, where invisible forces move beneath the surface. Tsunamis are born in that silent world, and their science is both humbling and oddly soothing. So let your body sink into the mattress. Let your breathing slow, like the gentle rhythm of a distant tide. Now, let's begin. Tonight, I'll share with you the quiet secrets of tsunamis, each fact delivered one at a time, like a soft wave rolling in. If you drift off before the end, that's perfectly fine, the story will be here waiting for you. And if these peaceful nights help your mind settle, consider subscribing, I'll always be here to whisper you to sleep. Now, let's start our journey through the deep.
Deep in the quiet darkness of the ocean, tsunamis travel as long, invisible ripples that can stretch over 100 miles in length. These waves move with a gentle persistence, gliding across the open sea at speeds reaching 500 miles per hour, similar to the steady pace of a commercial airplane. A ship passing over one would feel only the faintest rise and fall, so stretched out is the energy beneath. The pulse of water travels as softly as a secret through the night, unbothered by wind or light, as if the ocean is breathing in slow motion. The word tsunami itself arrives from the Japanese language, drifting into English as a combination of two tsu, meaning harbor, and nami, meaning wave. This name reflects the early observations of fishers who returned to a peaceful harbor to find it had been touched by a great tide. Picture a village waking to see the shoreline gently rearranged, boats resting in places they shouldn't be, and the ocean having whispered something powerful while no one listened. The name carries the memory of those quiet, puzzling mornings, a reminder that the sea's language is one of softness and sudden presence. Most of these rhythmic movements begin with the soft shifting of tectonic plates, where the earth slowly breathes and slides beneath itself. When a segment of the ocean floor lifts, it pushes a massive column of water upward, creating a floating energy that travels toward the shore. Imagine a giant, unseen hand pressing up from the seabed, and the water above responding not with a crash, but with a silent, spreading ripple. That initial lift is almost tender, a geological sigh that sends its message across the deep, and the wave sets off as a barely perceptible memory of that distant movement. As a tsunami nears the shallow coast, it undergoes a quiet transformation called shoaling, where the wave slows down and grows taller. The energy that was once spread wide and thin begins to gather, lifting the water into a slow, towering wall of blue. Out in the open, its height might have been no more than a gentle swell, but as the seafloor embraces it, the wave stands up, like a sleeper rising from a long rest. This gathering is unhurried, each moment stretching the water upward, until the horizon itself seems to pause and hold its breath. In some coastal areas, the ocean performs a mysterious disappearing act known as a drawback, where the tide recedes far beyond the usual low water mark. This peaceful retreat reveals hidden seashells and sandy flats, signaling that the ocean is gathering its strength for a slow return. It's as if the sea inhales deeply before a long, steady exhale, exposing secrets usually kept submerged. The quiet is enchanting, fish stranded in shallow pools, coral heads catching the light, and a whole world unveiled for just a few moments. Then, with a patient inevitability, the water comes back, not as a furious crash but as a measured, rising embrace. Some tsunamis are born not from earthquakes but from a quieter, deeper source. Imagine a silent slope far beneath the ocean's surface, where layers of sediment have rested for millennia. One day, perhaps after a gentle tremor, the sediment begins to slide, a slow and deliberate movement, much like sand slipping through an hourglass, grain by grain. This displacement whispers through the water above, creating ripples that spread outward in perfect concentric circles. It is just like a pebble dropped into a still pond, but on a grand scale, sending silent signals across immense distances. The sea does not roar or rage, it merely rearranges itself in a sequence of soft, spreading rings, a message without sound or fury, only motion.
Far out in the open ocean, a network of buoys drifts in patient solitude upon the endless blue. These are the dart buoys, silent guardians of the deep, floating gently on the surface while their sensors dangle far below in the darkness. They are designed to listen for the faintest whispers of pressure change, a subtle squeeze that hints at the ripple's distant passage. When they sense such a change, they send a soft burst of data to satellites orbiting high above, a gentle alert to shores that may be sleeping under moonlight. It is a quiet conversation between sea and sky, a warning carried on digital wings, traveling so softly that it never disturbs the deep calm of the ocean itself.
When this energy reaches a narrow river channel, it transforms into something almost gentle. The tsunami compresses into a slow, rolling surge known as a bore wave. Instead of a crashing wall of water, it becomes a steady and rhythmic pulse, a rise of water that glides inland with quiet determination. It spreads across the landscape in a wide and shimmering sheet, reflecting the sky like a vast mirror in motion, until it gradually thins and fades into the quiet embrace of the earth. It is a calm but unstoppable visitor, reshaping the contours of the land with a soft and persistent hand, leaving behind a memory of the sea's deep power. Ancient people witnessed these events and recorded them with great care and reverence. In the flickering lamplight of distant ages, they painted symbols on cave walls or pressed styluses into soft clay, describing the sea as a visiting guest who would arrive without warning and rearrange the familiar shoreline. These fragile records, now worn by time, help us trace the long and slow rhythms of our planet. They speak of cycles that span centuries, of the Earth's quiet breathing over thousands of years, a heartbeat too slow for us to feel but always present. We read them not just as history, but as a gentle reminder that the world moves in ways both sudden and profoundly patient, shaping our lives with quiet force. After the waters recede, the ocean returns to a state of deep and perfect stillness. It leaves behind a delicate layer of smooth silt, soft as powdered glass, and stones polished to a gentle shine, like tiny jewels scattered on the shore. The shoreline gradually finds its balance once more, the sand slowly settling back into its familiar and comforting contours. Day by day, it drifts back into harmony with the moon's steady pull and the timeless pulse of the tides, as if the sea had only paused to take a long and restorative breath. The sea becomes quiet again, its restless energy spent, lulling us back into the soothing rhythm we know so well, a rhythm as old as the earth itself. We often imagine tsunamis as towering walls of water, crashing violently upon the shore, but in the deep, open ocean, they are an entirely different creature, a series of long-period waves that travel across entire ocean basins with a quiet, relentless energy. Picture the endless blue expanse, from one continent to another, where these waves move unseen, their presence betrayed only by the most sensitive instruments. They are like gentle pulses in the vast body of the sea, spreading out in rings from some distant disturbance, yet invisible to the naked eye. Their power is hidden in their length and speed, a secret current flowing calmly beneath the surface. It is a marvel of nature how such immense energy can be so utterly concealed in the depths. In the deep sea, a tsunami wave may rise only a few centimeters high, a mere ripple on the surface, allowing a ship sailing over it to drift without the slightest awareness, its crew never knowing that a profound force passed beneath them. The energy is not in the height, but in the depth, flowing in a wide, heavy current that stretches from the surface to the ocean floor. Imagine that silent river, moving with a determined, steady purpose, carrying the memory of a distant earthquake across thousands of miles. This hidden momentum is a quiet giant, slumbering in the abyss, waiting for the right moment to wake. It is a humbling thought that such power can travel so secretly, a reminder of the mysteries that lie below. As these waves gently approach the shallow shoreline, a transformation begins, a slow and graceful process called shoaling. The wave starts to feel the rising seabed beneath it, and its speed diminishes, like a runner sensing the finish line. With this slowing, the energy that was spread out across the deep ocean is softly compressed, the water lifting into a visible crest that catches the light. It is as if the sea is taking a deep breath, gathering itself from the depths to present a new face. The gentle rise becomes more pronounced, building with a quiet inevitability until the once hidden wave stands tall and clear. This is the moment when the ocean whispers its secrets, turning the invisible into the seen, in a dance of physics and beauty. Sometimes, a fascinating phenomenon occurs when the ocean recedes far beyond the low tide mark, leaving the sandy floor exposed and shimmering under the soft light. This quiet withdrawal is a natural signal, a gentle herald that the wave's trough has arrived first, before the main body of water returns. Imagine standing on that beach, seeing the sea pull back like a veil, revealing a hidden world of ripples and tide pools that rarely see the sky. The sandy floor glistens with shells and seaweed, a secret landscape temporarily unveiled. It is a moment of profound stillness, a pause in the ocean's eternal rhythm, yet it carries a silent warning. The sea is merely drawing back its arm, preparing to deliver the energy it has carried from afar, in a slow, patient embrace. And at the heart of this phenomenon, tsunamis are not created by the common wind, but by the grand, slow forces of our planet, from the displacement of massive amounts of water when tectonic plates shift. These movements, drifting over millions of years, create a rhythmic balance within the Earth's crust, a geological heartbeat that sometimes stirs the sea. Picture the ocean floor, where two plates meet and one slips beneath the other with a quiet, immense power, sending a surge of water across the basin. This energy is not a sudden fury, but a deep, resonant response, a conversation between the Earth and the ocean that echoes through time. It is a reminder of the living planet we inhabit, where nothing is truly still, and every action has a rippling consequence. In this slow dance of geology, the tsunami is but a fleeting expression of an ancient, ongoing rhythm. Far beneath the shimmering surface of the Pacific, in a realm where sunlight fades to a deep, quiet blue, lies a restless cradle of creation known as the Ring of Fire. This crescent-shaped arc stretches for thousands of miles, curving around the ocean like a necklace of volcanic islands and hidden trenches. Here, the Earth's great plates meet and shift in slow, ponderous movements, giving birth to the vast majority of the world's tremors and seafloor upheavals. It is a place of profound stillness and immense power, where liquid rock rises to form new land and deep ravines plunge into darkness. The very shape of this active border steers the great ocean currents, sending ribbons of warm and cold water swirling across the globe in a delicate, planetary dance. In its quiet way, the Ring of Fire hums a deep, continuous song that only the seafloor truly hears.
Listening to that deep song, far out on the open water, is a gentle network of floating sentinels called dart buoys. They bob with the rhythm of the swells, unassuming and patient, their sensors reaching down through thousands of feet of water to feel the faintest change in pressure. When a tsunami passes, the column of water above the sensor subtly thickens, a whisper of added weight that the buoy translates into a quiet electronic signal. That signal leaps from the sea to a satellite drifting silently in space, then back down to watchful eyes on land. It is a system of immense vigilance wrapped in soft, undulating motion, a way of listening for the ocean's heartbeat without ever disturbing its slumber. These guardians of the deep ask nothing in return, they simply feel and relay and wait.
Closer to shore, nature has woven its own soft barrier against the force of the sea. Mangrove forests and coastal wetlands rise from the brackish water like a green, breathing cushion, their tangled roots spreading into the mud like the fingers of a peaceful giant. When a surge of water rolls in, it threads itself through this labyrinth of wood and leaf, losing its hurry and its fury with every twist and turn. The roots absorb the energy, scattering it into gentle swirls that settle into quiet pools, while the leafy canopy above rustles with a sound like the softest rain. These wetlands are sanctuaries not only for birds and fish, but for the land itself, cradling the coastline in a living embrace that asks nothing but patience and stillness. They are a whisper of green protection, a slow and steady guardian that has stood for millennia. The very word we use to name these giant waves carries with it a kind of quiet poetry. Tsunami comes from the Japanese words tsu, meaning harbor, and nami, meaning wave. It is a term born from the experience of watching the sea glide softly into a quiet port, rising not with a crash but with an inexorable gliding motion that reshapes the everyday world. There is something almost tender in the image it evokes, water returning to fill a basin like a slow, deep breath, sweeping across the stones and wooden docks without haste. The word itself is a reminder that destruction can arrive with a silent, liquid grace, its power hidden in the gentle lift of a tide that does not retreat but continues to come. In that name, the harbor and the wave become one, a single, sweeping motion that changes the landscape forever. When a tsunami finally greets the shore, it does not curl and break in the familiar way of a surfing wave. Instead, it flows forward like a shimmering rising tide, a heavy blanket of water that advances with a liquid, deliberate grace. It slides over the sand and into the streets, filling the low places first, as if the sea is simply stretching its body to cover new ground. There is no crashing thunder, only the quiet rush of a current that thickens and rises, swallowing valleys and basins in a warm, enveloping presence. The water moves with a kind of solemn inevitability, a dense and moving weight that carries the deep memory of the quake that birthed it. In its flowing, it transforms the familiar into something unrecognizably calm, a mirrored expanse where land once stood, reflecting the now silent sky. Hey there, still floating along with me? It's perfectly all right if you've drifted off. But if you're still here, I hope these deep water thoughts have been as calming as a midnight tide. If you're enjoying this, a like helps other night owls find their way here too. Far beneath the calm, open skin of the ocean, a quiet drama unfolds in slow motion. Down in the deep, unseen world, a tsunami moves not as a breaking wave you might picture, but as a long, sweeping pulse of pure energy. This invisible force can race across entire oceans, traveling at speeds that exceed 500 miles per hour, as fast as a jet streaming high above the clouds. Yet up on the surface, a passing ship feels nothing, only the gentle rhythm of the sea, completely unaware of the silent giant gliding through the deep blue below. Out in the vast, open water, these waves are surprisingly gentle, often rising only a few inches high. They drift peacefully, wide and smooth and soft, carrying an immense hidden strength without the slightest hint of threat. The energy stretches across hundreds of miles, a barely perceptible swell that would lift a boat so slowly no sailor would ever notice. It is a sleeping power, wrapped in quiet silk, waiting in the long, slow breath of the deep, reserving all its force for a distant shore it has not yet met. The name itself holds a story. The word tsunami comes from the Japanese words tsusu, meaning harbor, and nami, meaning wave. Long ago, fishermen would return to their peaceful port and find the waters empty. The fish mysteriously vanished, leaving only an odd stillness and a strange low tide. Then, sometimes hours later, a great wall of water would arrive, explaining the sudden silence. That haunting pattern, a harbor drained of life and a wave returning, gave birth to the name that now echoes across the world's coastlines. As this gentle swell draws near the shore, a delicate transformation begins. A process called shoaling takes hold, where the sloping seabed rises to meet the wave, and the water must slow down. The energy, with nowhere else to go, begins to lift, pushing the surface upward in a slow, majestic rise. What was once a faint, rippling whisper now builds into a towering presence, a mountain of water growing silently, its shadow spreading across the shallows as it gathers itself in a final, quiet pause before touching the land. Some tsunamis are born not from sudden ruptures, but from the slow, sliding dream of underwater landslides. Imagine a vast hillside of ancient sediment, resting on the edge of a deep canyon, beginning to drift downward in a soft, dusty cascade. This quiet displacement of earth gently pushes against the water above it, creating a rhythmic ripple that expands outward in all directions, like a pebble, barely disturbing a pond. These waves set forth on their journey with a tranquil, circular grace, carrying a whisper of the deep from one quiet side of the ocean to another. Sometimes, when you stand by the shore, you might witness a gentle wonder. The ocean seems to take a slow, deep breath, pulling its waters far, far back. This is the quiet event called a drawback. The seabed is laid bare, a vast floor of sand that glistens in the muted light. For a few long moments, everything is still. Hidden shells, worn smooth by time, emerge to catch the last rays of the fading sun. Tiny pebbles shimmer, holding a secret gleam. Then, as quietly as it left, the water returns, a soft blanket rolling home. The tide reclaims its realm with a hushed sigh, and the hidden world vanishes beneath the cool, blue calm again. Now, let your thoughts drift downward into the profound quiet of the deep ocean. There, in the endless dark, rest the DART sensors. They are deep ocean listeners placed by scientists to sleep on the silent floor. Day and night, they dream in the heavy stillness, undisturbed by the world above. They wait for a feeling, a soft, almost imperceptible change. When a passing wave threads through the water column, it presses down with a different weight. The sensor stirs, recognizing the gentle signature. It is a silent alarm, a soft whisper traveling up to the surface, telling us that far below, in the dreaming dark, something has stirred, a faint pulse has passed. Tsunamis are often thought of as children of the trembling earth. But some are born of the sky. High above, in the drifting layers of the atmosphere, a slow, soft hum of changing pressure can begin. This gentle shift can nudge the water's surface, barely a touch. The sea responds with a sleepy, swaying motion, a wave that feels no sudden violence. These are called tsunamis. They are rare and aimless wanderers, moving with the rhythm of the wind, not the shudder of the ground. A quiet, atmospheric breath gives them life. A drifting ripple that travels across open water like a sigh made visible. It is a soft echo of the sky, a memory of the wind carried on the water. Along the edge of the land, where rivers meet the sea, a quiet forest stands in the shallows. These are the mangroves, a gentle army of trees rooted in water. Their tangled roots rise and fall with the tide, a floating lattice that sways like a dream. When the ocean grows restless, these roots soften the arrival of the waves. They break down the energy, sifting the force into a calm, gentle lap. The shoreline behind them rests in peace, protected by this living, breathing filter. The mangroves do not shout, they simply absorb, and in doing so, they guard the quiet coast with a patient, green embrace. A soft, salty wind rustles through their leaves, a lullaby for the sleeping shore. Now descend with me into the deepest parts of the ocean, where light forgets to fall. This is a world of eternal twilight, a hushed cathedral of water. The weight above is immense, pressing softly into a profound silence. Here, the water does not crash or roar. It simply is a heavy velvet stillness. Within this quiet, the immense energy of a tsunami is transformed. It becomes only a gentle vibration, a floating pulse that moves through the dark without a sound. It passes like a thought through a sleeping world, a soft ripple in the deep quiet, leaving no trace behind. The ocean sleeps, and the wave is just a dream passing through. And so in this silent realm, even the mightiest wave becomes but a secret murmured in the dark. In the deep, quiet reaches of the open ocean, far from any shore, a hidden motion glides through the blue. A tsunami can travel as fast as a jet plane, over 500 miles an hour, yet the surface remains almost completely still. The wave is only a whisper, a few inches high, drifting invisibly beneath the peaceful water. No ship would feel it, no eye would see it. It moves in silence, cradling an immense energy in its gentle form, like a dream passing through the vast and sleeping sea. When this hidden swell begins to sense the shore, a quiet transformation unfolds. The seabed rises slowly to meet it, and the wave begins to slow. As its speed fades, the energy within has nowhere to go but upward. The water compresses and lifts into a towering wall, catching the light of the sky. It glows with reflections of clouds and sun, a luminous curtain rising from the deep. What was once invisible becomes a majestic presence, a silent statement of the ocean's patient power. In some coastal places, before this grand arrival, the sea draws back. It pulls away from the shore, leaving the wet seabed exposed to the open air. Shimmering tide pools and hidden shells are revealed, glistening in the sudden quiet. The ocean seems to take a deep and tender breath, gathering its strength for a graceful return. This gentle withdrawal is nature's own whispered warning, a soft sigh that something great and silent is on its way. The most powerful of these waves are often born from deep below, where two great tectonic plates meet in a slow and rhythmic dance. They press against each other, building tension across centuries, a silent conversation of stone. When the tension finally releases, the seafloor lifts, pushing the entire column of water upward. That single motion sends a ripple across the ocean basin, a gentle pulse carrying the memory of the Earth's deep movement across thousands of miles. Sometimes, these waves rise from quieter origins. A silent underwater landslide, or the slow collapse of a volcanic island, can displace massive volumes of water in a single hushed moment. The disturbance sends out soft concentric rings, like the ripples on a pond after a pebble is gently dropped. These rings of energy expand outward through the deep, spreading with a quiet that reaches distant shores long after the cause has settled. And so the ocean breathes, in rhythms ancient and vast, carrying these waves as messages from the deep across the quiet blue, reminding us of the hidden forces that shape our world peacefully beneath the surface of all we see. In the vast, dreaming Pacific, there is a great crescent of fire and motion known as the Ring of Fire. It is a place where the Earth's crust breathes and shifts with slow, ancient power. Deep currents travel through these waters like silent messengers, carrying the memory of faraway tremors from one shore to another across thousands of miles. The journey is quiet, almost invisible, as if the ocean itself is whispering a secret only the water can understand. Far out on the open sea, a peaceful network of floating buoys drifts gently with the tides. These buoys, called dart, are like the ocean's own listeners, resting softly above the deepest places. They sense the faintest change in water pressure, the quietest sigh of the seafloor far below. When they feel a shift, they send a small, silent signal up to waiting satellites, and that whisper travels to coastal villages, keeping them safe and serene under the wide sky. Along many coastlines, people have planted living shields of lush mangroves and soft, swaying palms. These green forests wrap around the land like a gentle embrace, their roots woven together beneath the shallow water. When the sea rushes in, these leaves and branches slow the flow, turning a powerful surge into a quiet ripple. The bioshield stands as a tender buffer, holding the sandy earth in its intricate, protective net, a quiet guardian of the shore. A tsunami is not a single towering wall of water, but a train of soft, undulating pulses moving across the open blue. The first wave may arrive small, barely kissing the sand, and then there comes a long, quiet pause, a breath held in the world. After that stillness, another swell drifts softly toward the beach, a rhythm as calm and steady as a sleeping heartbeat, the sea slowly rising and falling in a gentle, measured sequence. In the deepest parts of the sea, where sunlight fades into velvet darkness, the energy of a tsunami moves through the entire water column. It flows from the glittering surface down to the silent abyss, a slow, complete connection that fills every layer with the same soft pulse. This is a reminder of the ocean's immense, floating connectivity, where a whisper in one hemisphere can be felt in another, a quiet thread tying all the waters of the earth together in a single dreaming embrace. In the deep, quiet stretches of the open ocean, a tsunami travels with unbelievable speed. It can move faster than 500 miles per hour, racing through the water as swiftly as a passenger jet soaring through the sky. But here is the strange, beautiful truth. Despite this incredible velocity, the wave stays almost invisible to anyone floating above. It appears only as a soft, subtle swell in the vast blue expanse, a whisper of motion in a sea of calm. It is hard to comprehend such speed hidden in such stillness. The wave is like a secret being carried across the water, a silent messenger from the depths. The very name, tsunami, comes from a language that knows the sea well. It is a Japanese word, made from two gentle sounds, Tsu means harbor and Nami means wave. Long ago, people noticed something curious in those peaceful harbors. Without warning, the water would rise and fall, a silent reminder of a force that had journeyed from far away. It was as if the wave remembered its name, carrying the echo of its arrival into those sheltered bays. This name holds a story of transformation, of quiet energy moving unseen until it finds its shore. The word itself feels soft and gentle, like the sound of water lapping against a wooden pier. It speaks of a quiet anticipation, a knowing that the sea can change in an instant. And when we think of a tsunami, we might picture a single, towering wall of water. But the truth is softer, more patient. A tsunami is a train of waves, one after another, rolling in from the deep. These pulses can arrive hours apart, each one a gentle messenger from the same distant event. Often the first wave is the smallest, a quiet herald of what follows. Then slowly, the larger surges drift in, like breaths from the ocean, steady and unhurried. So the sea teaches us patience as it delivers its energy in calm, measured steps. This wave train is like the ocean's own rhythm, a pulse that echoes through the water. Each surge carries a piece of the same story, unfolding slowly for those who wait on the shore. There is a beautiful process called shoaling that happens when the wave meets the shore. As the tsunami approaches the soft sands of the coastline, it begins to slow down. The front of the wave gently brushes against the rising seafloor, like a hand trailing through still water. This touch pushes the energy upward, lifting the water into a taller, more visible form. The wave grows in height and presence, finally revealing itself after its long, secret journey. It is a quiet transformation, where the deep ocean's whisper becomes a visible sigh along the edge of the land. Watching this, one might feel a sense of awe at the ocean's quiet strength. The wave that was once invisible now stands before us, a testament to persistence. Not all tsunamis begin with a violent quake. Some are born from the quiet shifting of the earth beneath the sea. Imagine a massive underwater landslide, where sediment glides softly down a submerged slope. As it moves, it displaces the Before the water even arrives, the sea can send a quiet message in the form of the drawback effect. It happens when the tide pulls back far beyond where it normally goes, sliding away in a long, slow exhale. A wide expanse of wet sand is suddenly revealed, shimmering under the light like a breathing, silver mirror. Tide pools that were hidden just moments before are now open to the sky, their tiny ecosystems resting in peaceful basins carved into the ocean floor. It is a serene and beautiful sight, the shore holding its breath, quietly unveiling secrets that only the sea remembers, a gentle hint of the deep power moving far out on the horizon. Far from those sleeping shores, in the deepest and most silent parts of the ocean, a network of guardians rests on the seabed. This is the Deep Ocean Assessment and Reporting of Tsunamis, the DART system, and it listens to the very pulse of the sea. The sensors sit in perfect stillness on the dark ocean floor, feeling for the faintest whisper of a pressure change in the immense column of water above them. A passing wave of energy, no taller than a ripple at the surface, is detected in this quiet abyss with absolute precision. And from that silent, sunless place, a signal is sent upward, a soft and urgent note traveling to distant shores to offer a precious, life-saving warning while the world above still sleeps.
The genesis of many waves is found in the slow, patient music of the planet itself, in the subduction zones where colossal tectonic plates meet. For centuries, one plate will slide so gently beneath another, a motion so gradual it is quieter than the slowest of heartbeats. Time drips by, and a huge, invisible reservoir of energy is patiently stored in this deep geological embrace. The pressure builds without sound, without tremor, a silent promise held in the Earth's deep memory. Then, in a single, inevitable moment, that ancient stored energy is released, not with violence, but with a profound and final sigh, sending a smooth, pulsing ripple out across the entire ocean basin, a memory of a long-held tension now set adrift.
Out in the deep blue vastness, a tsunami is not a towering wall of water, but a broad, gentle swell. The wavelength can be immense, stretching over 100 miles from one silent crest to the next. It is a wide and flowing body of energy, moving with a steady and inevitable grace that is almost imperceptible. A ship sailing under a clear sky would never feel it pass, its gentle presence lost in the endless rhythm of the open sea. The water rises and falls in a deep, silent undulation, a slow-motion pulse of pure physics carrying unimaginable potential across the planet with the quiet dignity of a sleeping giant.
When this deep, quiet pulse finally meets the land, it is the shape of the coast that tells the water what to become. Warm, sheltered bays and narrow, winding inlets act as gentle guides, shaping the incoming energy with a sculptor's soft hand. The geography does not stop the water, but rather focuses it, drawing its vast, distributed power into a smaller and smaller space. The long wavelength shortens, the energy compresses, and the water rises upward in a slow, drifting lift, a liquid mountain born from the gentle funnel of the shore. It is a calm, almost inevitable embrace, the sea simply following the path the land has laid out for it, enveloping the shoreline in a slow-motion flood that seems to drift more than it rushes. Still here. That's lovely. You don't need to hold on to any of this, just let the words wash over you like a gentle current, drifting with the water wherever it wants to go. I'll keep talking. You just rest where the shore is soft and the tide is quiet. Far out in the quiet heart of the open ocean, a tsunami often exists as a gentle secret. The wave is nothing more than a soft, invisible swell, rising just a few inches above the surface. It moves with a floating grace, traveling faster than 500 miles per hour. That is the steady speed of a jet plane crossing the sky, yet here on the water there is no roar, only silence and motion. As this gentle swell drifts toward the shallows, something beautiful begins to happen. The wave enters a peaceful change known as shoaling, a word that sounds as soft as the process itself. The water becomes shallower, and the wave slows down, almost as if it is pausing to breathe. Slowly, quietly, it rises upward, gathering its strength like a slow exhale reaching toward the shore. And in the moments before it arrives, a strange and lovely thing can happen at the beach. The ocean seems to gently step back, pulling away from the sand with a long, quiet sigh. What remains is a wide, shimmering expanse of wet sand and tiny tide pools, still and silent. This soft withdrawal is the first tender sign that something is gathering its power just over the horizon, a slow hush before the return. The very name for this wonder comes from Japanese, blending the characters for harbor and wave. It speaks of a deep, ancient understanding of the sea and the quiet sanctuary of a coastal village. The word itself feels like a whisper, a reminder that even the calmest harbor can hold a memory of the ocean's slow, drifting motion. Some of the most serene tsunamis are born from the deep, where great underwater slopes drift slowly downward. Landslides, heavy and unhurried, shift the water in a rolling motion that sends ripples spreading across the vast blue expanse. There is no sudden shock, only a deep, heavy grace as the sea carries the memory of that movement far, far away. In the summer of 1958, a quiet event unfolded in Lituya Bay, Alaska. The bay, a narrow inlet surrounded by silent mountains, felt a tremor. A massive chunk of rock detached and slid dreamily into the deep, dark water. The bay answered with a slow, powerful surge, pushing water high up the opposite slope. The wave climbed to 1,720 feet, the tallest ever recorded. It wasn't a crashing roar, but a gentle, sculpting hand that washed over the land. It stripped the hillside, leaving a lasting scar. Now that Mark sleeps on the mountainside, a soft memory of the Earth's deep strength. Far out at sea, in the deep and quiet water, peaceful floating sensors drift. These are called dart buoys, and they listen to the heartbeat of the ocean. They move gently with the deep currents, always awake beneath the sun and stars. Their instruments feel for the softest change in water pressure, the faintest hint of a tsunami passing below. They rock softly on the swell, tuned to the ocean's hidden rhythm. When they sense that long, slow wave, they send a whisper of warning to distant shores. This gives sleeping coastal towns time to stir and seek safety. The buoys are like silent guardians, floating alone in the vast blue, their gentle vigilance protecting lives. A tsunami is not like the wind-driven waves that dance on the shore. Those surface waves are just a quick flutter on the skin of the sea. A tsunami moves the whole water column, from the sparkling surface all the way down to the cold, silent ocean floor. Imagine the entire sea, from the light to the abyss, shifting together in one slow breath. This movement gives the wave a deep, heavy power, It carries a vast, slow energy, an immense and rhythmic pulse that travels through the deep ocean. It crosses entire oceans in quiet darkness, a hidden force you would never feel from a boat. Then, when it meets shallow water, it gently rises, slowing down and growing tall.
In some coastal regions, nature has woven a soft, green shield. Mangrove forests stand with their tangled roots half in water, half in air. These roots form a peaceful net, a living filter that gently slows the water's rush. When a surge arrives, it loses its hurry among the roots, spreading out in a quiet sigh. The mangrove roots hold the soil in a soft embrace, asking for nothing. Behind them, the land sleeps peacefully, protected by this leafy embrace. The trees stand firm, their branches whispering in the breeze, a patient, green wall between the sea and the sleepy shore. After a tsunami passes, the waters do not simply rush away and vanish. They begin a slow, rhythmic ebb and flow, like the breathing of the earth itself. The sea rises and falls in a gentle, drawn-out rhythm, pulling softly at the sand, then releasing in a sleepy cycle. It feels as if the planet is exhaling after a long rest. Finally, the water settles, growing still and calm. It leaves behind a vast mirrored surface, a liquid glass reflecting the soft colors of the twilight sky. In that quiet moment, the world seems to rest, healed by the peace of the returning stillness. Deep beneath the surface of the sea, in the quietest folds of the ocean, a tsunami is not the roaring wall of water we might imagine. Instead, it moves as a gentle, invisible pulse, a soft rhythm traveling through the deep. These waves can cross entire ocean basins at speeds beyond 500 miles per hour, gliding silently beneath the surface. Their wavelength stretches over 100 miles from crest to crest, a slow and measured breath of the sea. Down there, in all that stillness, it is simply a drifting, hidden force. As a tsunami approaches the soft sands of a shoreline, it goes through a peaceful change called shoaling. The water grows shallower, and the wave begins to slow down, as if it is taking a long, restful pause. All that deep energy, once invisible, now lifts the water gently upward. A low, drifting swell transforms, rising higher and higher, becoming a towering presence of water. It is a gradual, almost sleepy gathering, a slow bloom of the ocean's quiet power. There is a curious moment known as the drawback, when the sea seems to breathe out. The water pulls away from the beach in a slow, retreating motion, like a long, soft exhale. As it goes, it reveals the secret things hidden below, shimmering shells and glistening tide pools left open to the sky. A hushed stillness settles over the shore, a moment of quiet waiting. Then, with a deep, calm sigh, the ocean returns. Tsunamis are often born from the quiet shifting of the earth far beneath the waves. Deep in subduction zones, one tectonic plate slides softly beneath another, so slowly you would never feel it. This slow press stores energy like a coiled spring resting in a quiet room. When it releases, the earth moves in a slow, rhythmic motion, sending a gentle pulse through the water above. It is a whisper from the deep, a reminder of the quiet forces that shape our world. Out in the deep, velvet blue of the open ocean, a sailor might never even notice a tsunami passing beneath their boat. The wave height is often only a few feet, just a subtle rise and fall. The distance between crests is so vast that the motion feels like a calm, floating drift. You could close your eyes and simply sway, unaware of the great journey unfolding below. In that deep, dark water, the wave is just a peaceful, silent traveler. In the vast, silvered silence of the deep, the ocean holds countless quiet wonders. Tonight, let us explore the soft rhythms of the waves and the ancient names we have given them. The word tsunami itself feels soft on the tongue, a gentle meeting of two syllables from the Japanese language, tsu, meaning harbor, and nami, meaning wave. This delicate name was born long ago, in small fishing villages nestled along the coast. The people there would look out at their quiet, sheltered harbors and notice something strange. The water would slowly rise, and then fall back again, like the deep breath of a sleeping giant. They did not see terror, only a mysterious drift, a slow dance of the sea that they named with care. Even today, the word carries that quiet, watchful feeling.
Far out across the endless blue of the Pacific Ocean, a guardian network floats in serene solitude. These are the dart buoys, simple cylinders that bob gently with the rhythm of the open sea. Beneath them, on the dark ocean floor, a pressure sensor listens with infinite patience. It feels the slightest change, the most tender shift in the weight of the water above. When the heartbeat of the earth stutters deep below, these drifting sentinels whisper a soft warning. Their message travels across the silence, gently alerting shores that may not yet see a single ripple. They are the ocean's quiet messengers, never raising their voice. But not all waves are born from the trembling of tectonic plates. Some are dreamed into being by the slow, silent movement of the seabed itself. Imagine a vast slope of ancient sediment, resting in the twilight of a deep underwater canyon. Over centuries it loosens, and then one day it begins to glide. Not in a rush, but in a soft, somnolent descent. As it shifts, it gently pushes the water above, creating a series of rhythmic ripples that spread outward like rings on a placid pond. These waves travel not as a single crashing wall, but as a whispering pulse, a quiet series of swells that arrive on the coast with a sigh rather than a roar. In the far north, where the world grows quiet and the mountains dive straight into the sea, there are places where a rare and awe-inspiring phenomenon can occur. These are the fjords of Norway, deep glacial valleys filled with still, dark water. Sometimes, a piece of a glacier or a great slab of mountain rock slowly, majestically, slips into the fjord. The descent is unhurried, almost ceremonial. The water responds by rising into a towering, shimmering wall, a mirror of pale light that reflects the pastel colors of the northern sky. It stands for a moment, a cathedral of water and light, before settling back into the profound silence of the fjord. And after all motion fades, the ocean returns to what it has always been, a deep, shimmering field of tranquility. The salt spray hangs warm and soft in the air, carrying the scent of faraway places. The rhythmic pulse of the tide, that slow and faithful heartbeat of the planet, resumes its endless lullaby. The water laps the shore in a timeless, soothing cadence, as if nothing had ever stirred. And you, listening now, can feel that same gentle rhythm pulling you deeper into rest, into the quiet peace of the deep. Sleep well and let the ocean carry your dreams. Deep in the quiet layers of the ocean, far from the sun's warm light, a tsunami does not look like a wave at all. It is a gentle, invisible ripple of energy, a soft pulse moving through the vast and dark blue silence. This energy can travel across entire ocean basins, moving with a speed that would rival a jet plane. It glides at 500 miles per hour, smooth and swift, unseen and unheard, like a whisper crossing the deep. The water remains still, but deep within, the pulse travels on, carrying a hidden strength that will one day touch distant shores. As these drifting currents approach the shallow shores, the water begins to slow down and gather itself in a heavy, fluid motion. This process, known as shoaling, transforms the deep-sea energy into a towering wall of blue. It rises slowly, like a waking giant from the depths, building strength in the soft, sandy shallows. The quiet ocean holds its breath as this gentle power forms, a slow and steady breath from the sea. Each moment, the wave grows taller, drawing in the energy of the deep, preparing to meet the land with a silent, swelling embrace. In some coastal areas, the ocean performs a quiet mystery known as the drawback. The tide recedes far beyond its normal limit, retreating peacefully from the shore with a soft, hushed sigh. This reveals shimmering seashells and hidden sandy floors, a still and silent scene glowing in the pale light. But it signals that the wave is gently gathering its strength just over the horizon, waiting in the deep,
a patient gathering of energy. For a moment, the world holds still, listening to the soft rhythm of the sea as it prepares its quiet power. The most profound tsunamis are often born from the soft shifting of tectonic plates, a silent dance deep within the earth. Here, the earth breathes and moves in slow, rhythmic cycles, lifting the seafloor with a gentle, unseen force. This displaces a massive volume of water, sending a series of rhythmic pulses floating toward distant lands, like whispers carried on the wind. These gentle movements carry immense power, a soft shudder that spreads across the sea. It is a reminder of the deep, quiet forces that shape our world, moving in patient, eternal rhythms.
Not all great waves are born from the Earth's movement. Some are created by the slow, graceful slide of underwater landslides, a gentle surrender of sediment to the deep. As immense banks of sediment drift downward into the abyss, they push the water forward in a heavy, fluid motion that ripples outward in concentric circles. This soft, expanding pattern reaches far across the deep, still ocean, like ripples in a pond from a falling stone. It is a quiet, spreading event, a silent wave born from the depths, moving with a slow and steady grace. So as you drift into sleep, imagine these soft, powerful movements deep beneath the waves. The ocean is always whispering, always moving, in its vast and silent way. These gentle tsunamis, these quiet giants, are part of the Earth's endless lullaby. Let their rhythm carry you into the deep, still dark of rest.
Far out in the vast, silent ocean, where the water stretches endlessly and the sky fades into a soft, hazy blue, a peaceful network of deep-sea sensors floats on the gentle, rolling swells. These dart buoys are like warm, floating hearts, feeling the sea's quietest, most serene heartbeat, sensing the faintest whisper of changing pressure from the dark, velvet floor below. They send their hushed, secret signals up through the atmosphere to the waiting satellites, and those satellites beam the gentle warning down, wrapping every coastal village in a deep, undisturbed slumber, safe and still under the moon's soft, silver glow, a silent, eternal vigil of the deep sea. Across the vast, deep blue of the Pacific, the ring of fire curves like a warm, glowing cradle of volcanic islands and quiet, sandy shores. Here in this serene, shifting region, the Earth's crust frequently whispers and moves, a deep, rhythmic, ancient breath from the planet's warm, molten heart, gently rocking the overlying sea. This is the slow, silent, magical theater where the ocean's most majestic waves are born, a hushed and volcanic ballet where the water and land meet in a graceful, ancient dance, preparing the conditions for vast, serene movements that speak in the softest of tongues, a quiet, fiery embrace of creation and eternal calm. A tsunami is not a single, lonely rush of water, but a slow, steady, silent procession of waves, a serene and sacred train gliding across the endless, liquid sea. Each wave arrives like a deep, rhythmic, sleeping breath from the ocean's heart, carrying its own soft, unique, gentle volume of water to the waiting, sandy shore. They drift in, one after another, in a velvety, unbroken, whispered sequence, a series of the sea's deepest, most peaceful sighs, washing over the land in a gentle, persistent lullaby that echoes the Earth's own quiet, deep pulse, a slow, breathing rhythm of fluid, soft whispers. The immense, hidden energy of a tsunami is stored deep, far below the shimmering, sunlit surface, reaching down through the cool, blue, silent layers to the velvet blackness of the ocean floor. This means the entire vast column of water, from the warm, light-filled top to the cold, silent, dark depths, moves together in one harmonious, floating, weightless motion. It is a soft, unified, deep pulse, a gentle, graceful dance where the whole sea sways as one, from the brightness above to the darkness below, in a serene, liquid embrace that carries the whisper of the Earth's own slow movement, a silent, synchronized ballet of the entire sleeping ocean. After the last wave settles into a deep, velvet silence, the ocean returns to a state of quiet, serene equilibrium, leaving behind a landscape of smooth, polished sands and softly glistening, wet stones. The water slowly, gently, quietly drifts back to its vast, deep, dark home, retreating in a hushed, fluid, soft sigh, returning the shoreline to a peaceful, moonlit, dreamy slumber. All is stillness again, wrapped in the warm, silent, protective night, where only the faintest, softest lap of the tide remains, a gentle, repetitive, loving whisper, a lullaby of the sea's serene return to rest and endless calm, under the watchful, silver, glowing eye of the moon. In the vast openness of the deep ocean, far from any shore, a tsunami travels as a quiet, invisible energy wave. It is so gentle, often measuring less than 3 feet in height, a soft whisper on the surface. You would never notice it from above, just a slight rise in the deep blue water. Despite this gentle appearance, these waves move with a graceful speed that can reach 500 miles per hour. They drift across the sea as fast as a cruising jet airplane, a silent pulse racing through the vast, still darkness. The ocean holds this energy like a secret, carrying it for miles without a sound, a warm breath in the cold deep. The term tsunami originates from the Japanese words tsu, meaning harbor, and nami, meaning wave. This name reflects historical observations in peaceful coastal villages where the sea would act strangely. Imagine a quiet morning, the water mysteriously vanishing from the harbor, leaving the ground exposed and still. The air would feel heavy, a soft vacuum pulling the tide away. Then, in a moment, it would return as a towering wall of water, a deep, soothing roar from the horizon. This name carries the memory of those gentle harbors and the mighty waves that embrace them, a soft warning in the waves. As a tsunami drifts toward the shallow warmth of the shoreline, it undergoes a process called shoaling. The wave slows down and grows taller, a gentle transformation from the deep. The energy from the open ocean is compressed upward, creating a slow, rising tide. It lifts the landscape like a soft, steady hand from the sea. The water, once invisible, becomes a visible force, rising and falling with a rhythmic breath. This shoaling is a quiet dialogue between the wave and the shore, a dance of energy that transforms the silent deep into a calming presence on the sand. Many tsunamis are born from the quiet shifting of tectonic plates along the ocean floor. In regions known as subduction zones, one plate softly slides beneath another, a slow, massive movement in the dark. This can store immense pressure for centuries, a deep tension building in the Earth's crust. It feels like the planet holding its breath, a vast, silent strain. Then, in one smooth, undulating motion, that pressure releases, sending energy out like a ripple in a pond. This birth is a whisper from the deep, a soft, powerful sigh that travels across the ocean to find a distant shore. Underwater landslides, where great slopes of sediment drift slowly downward, can also create these wandering waves. In the deep silence of the abyss, these events happen without a sound. Millions of tons of earth shift into a peaceful, rhythmic flow, a soft cascade in the darkness. This movement is like a gentle sigh from the ocean floor, stirring the water above. The wave it creates is a wandering giant, traveling far with a quiet purpose. It is a reminder of the deep, still forces at work, the soft ballet of the sea floor that sends waves out into the world. Far out on the open ocean, where the water is deep and still under a velvet night, special sensors called dart buoys float like dreaming sentinels. They listen to the sea's slow, hidden heartbeat, detecting the tiniest pressure changes on the dark seafloor below. These silent guardians feel the subtle shift of the deep, and then they beam their hushed reports to satellites high above. It is a soft whisper in the darkness, a quiet warning drifting through the starlit sky to guard the sleeping coasts. There is a rare and gentle phenomenon called a tsunami, born not from the earth but from the sky's soft breath. A subtle shift in air pressure, a lingering weather front, and the wind begins to guide a slow drifting wave across the surface. It moves like a quiet mist, barely a ripple on the vast blue, a whisper of the atmosphere upon the water. This silent traveler carries no roar or crash, only a hushed, fluid motion that melts into the shore with the tenderness of a fading dream. The deep sea currents that carry tsunamis are entire columns of water, stretching from the sunlit surface down to the cold sandy darkness below. This is not a mere ripple on the waves, but a massive, floating body of energy, moving in a slow and synchronized dance. It is a silent, heavy pulse gliding through the vastness with gentle but immense power, a deep breath of the ocean in motion. This hidden force travels beneath the surface, a solemn procession of water that holds the memory of distant disturbances. Along the sleeping coast, nature weaves a velvety shield with the most intricate of hands. The tangled roots of mangroves and the stony branches of coral reefs stand like quiet guardians, softening the arrival of an approaching wave. They absorb its fierce energy with a tender, gentle touch, turning a powerful surge into a quiet, shimmering flow. The water whispers through these living barricades, its strength dissolving into a soft caress that strokes the shore under the pale moonlight. In the furthest reaches of the Pacific Ocean, a shimmering crescent of restless earth lies beneath the night sky. Here, where the world's crust cracks and breathes, tsunamis begin their slow journey, floating away from volcanic islands into the endless, starlit blue. It is a place of deep slumber and sudden sighs, where the earth's quiet groans give birth to waves. The ring of fire glows with a hidden warmth, a belt of creation and destruction that sends ripples of energy into the still heart of the sea. A ripple crosses the open sea, barely a whisper against the hull, just 3 feet high and 100 miles wide, rushing through the dark with the silent speed of a distant jet trailing its shadow across the deep. The word itself holds a quiet warning. Harbor wave, born from an old knowing when fishermen found strange fish in still waters, a sign that the ocean had shifted somewhere far beyond the horizon. As it drifts toward land, the wave begins to feel the bottom, slowing down and drawing itself upward, gathering its long, low form into a luminous wall that stands patiently before it falls. Far below, on the seafloor, a quiet instrument rests, sensing the faintest pressure change, then a buoy above sends a whisper to a satellite, and somewhere a bell rings softly in a sleeping coastal town. Sometimes the earth moves not with a sudden jolt but with a slow sigh, sand and stone sliding down submerged slopes, gently pushing the water aside until a perfect ring of ripples spreads outward, like breath on glass. In some peaceful bays, a tsunami is a bore, a singular shimmering wall of water flowing inland, carrying the ocean's weight in a slow floating motion, transforming the landscape. From a shift in the Sunda Trench, the 2004 Indian Ocean event unfurled as drifting plates lifted the seafloor, displacing an immense volume of water, sending ripples across the globe. Coastal cultures have learned to read the sea's breath, knowing that when the tide recedes far beyond normal, it is the ocean's withdrawal, a deep breath before the wave returns. Some tsunamis are born from the slow movement of volcanic giants, as when a caldera collapses, redistributing magma into a soft, undulating pressure that drifts long-period waves toward distant horizons. A tsunami's energy flows through the entire water column, from sunlit surface to midnight zone, carrying its momentum in a calm, steady flow, unlike wind waves that brush the surface. After the great surge recedes, the ocean does not fall silent and still. It enters a phase of soft, rhythmic oscillations called cycles, a word almost as soothing as the motion itself. Picture a vast basin, like a giant crystal bowl, where the water glides back and forth in a gentle, rocking cradle. These are not violent waves, but tender sways, as if the sea is breathing deeply after its exertion. This delicate movement can persist for hours, a lulling, hypnotic dance that whispers of equilibrium. It is the ocean's way of settling into peace, a calm, patient rhythm that mirrors the slowing of your own breath. Even the mightiest forces in nature find their way back to stillness, and so can you. We have journeyed together through the science of giant waves, from the depths of the ocean to the quiet after the surge. Your mind has wandered far, and now it is time to let those thoughts dissolve like mist over calm water. Let the world outside fade gently away. If this narration helped you drift toward sleep, perhaps leave a like as a quiet token of rest. And if you subscribe, I will be here whenever you need a voice to guide you into the night. Consider it a standing invitation to return to these peaceful shores. Sleep deeply, and remember, even the most powerful tsunamis eventually yield to stillness. Rest now, everything is exactly as it should be.